Hey, welcome to my channel once again. I'm going to do another retro trailer reaction. I don't know if I ever saw this trailer. I saw this film plenty of times over the years. Really enjoyed this film. I think we had it on video. I think we've taped it off the telly, and it was one I'd watched lots and lots. It's a great kind of like sports, but like future sports, a violent future sports movie, Rollerball. And this is the official trailer number one. This is a James Caan movie from way back in 1975. I was watching an old war movie today, the Bridge Too Far, and I recognised James Caan when he was, long time ago. I'm not even sure when that one was, but he ran about the same time actually. I'm not sure, but anyway, he's cool in this movie, and this is a great kind of action, violent movie. I used to like a lot of like 2000 AD comic book, and there'd be quite often there'd be future sports, like Imagine future sports in there, and they always had a violent take, like the Harlem Heroes, like a kind of a anti-gravity basketball kind of game with lots of punch ups and so forth. There's another story called the Mean Arena, which is like American football, but with all kinds of, it's over like whole cities, and there was like all kinds of violence going on there. Anyway, let's just watch this rollerball one. I guess it's kind of like roller derby, but more violent with motorbikes as well. Yeah. That music and the darkness, it makes it very moody kind of sounding, and the sound about the sound of the motorbike revving up as well. It kind of gives you like an anticipation of like what's to come. It's like, yeah, so it kind of, I would imagine if I watched this as a kid, I would have been like, oh, this looks interesting. I would have been only 6 at the time, so there'd been no way I would have seen it at the cinema. Yay.
Jonathan E. That's the name. The champion plays on.
I think the action's kind of like tame by today's period, by today's standards rather. But for them days, it was probably kind of like ultra violent for its time. But you looked at the like, punch. It didn't look like that kind of dynamic, did it? It looked like a little, yeah. But as a, I think it still holds up pretty well. To be honest, they did do a remake of it. Now, even that was like probably 10, 15 years ago now, maybe even longer. Might even be 20 years ago. I know they did a remake. I think it had some kind of. And I remember what's his face from WWE played a commentator. What's his name from WWE? It used to be ECW. Oh, I can't remember his name. Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman. I'm pretty sure he was in it, and it was a more like updated, obviously a little bit more ultra violence going on. But anyway, let's just carry on with this trailer. It's kind of like I don't think it's like a dystopian kind of future. I think there was kind of like elements of like the old Roman arenas where you got to keep the people happy by giving them the arena games. The gladiatorial combat was a way of keeping bread and circuses, as they used to call it back in the Roman times. I think there was an element of that going on to it, and the rollerball teams were to keep the masses entertained, stop them from rioting. I think it's based in the future. I'm not sure what year it's supposed to have been set in. I wonder if it will tell us in the trailer.
You know how the game serves us. It has a definite social purpose.
Yep.
Nations are bankrupt, gone, no poverty, no sickness. Man has accomplished what he'd always craved. Corporate society was an inevitable destiny, a good life, a centuries-old dream.
Better do as you're told.
What did that poor tree do to anybody? Yeah, so it seems like it's an idyllic, from what he was saying, it's a kind of like slightly idyllic future, but they still need this entertainment to keep the masses from getting out of hand. I think what he was just saying there was kind of like what I was saying about the bread and circuses, about the entertainment for the masses.
Told Jonathan, that's all I have to say.
Don't be here when I come back.
You won't be back, Johnny boy.
No player is greater than the game itself. It's not a game a man is supposed to grow strong in, Jonathan.
Ouch. Oh,
Still don't understand why I came.
he does have some good hits actually. There's a couple of good scenes there. It looked like I mean, imagine as a kid, I'm like, oh my god, wow! There was some quite high impact whacks there. The bloke whacking his head, the other bloke getting run over by a motorbike, and the motorbike crashing over the barrier. Yeah, that was another thing I'm remembering now. Like they didn't, because Jonathan was like the superstar, and they kind of didn't want. I think it's like they didn't want the people to have heroes. They wanted to be entertained and like see violence, so they didn't enact violence at themselves. But the idea was they didn't want anyone to get too big and like I don't know, almost get like a hero status. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want them to have people to look up to. They wanted to see them as I don't know cannon fodder, and I don't know. Just I don't know. I remember there's a good scene at the end where they basically, yeah, you'll imagine if you'll see it, but at the end there's a big rousing scene at the end where kind of like he defies the people who want to keep the society in its place by becoming, super successful kind of thing. I'm kind of blathering now. Let's just carry on with the trailer. I'm trying to remember what happened.
You're the only person I ever wanted. Wanted you on my side. That's all.
Yeah, I've got to say the bits where they're not actually going around the ring on motorbikes and punching each other in the face are quite boring. The in between bits, even as a kid, I was like, "Oh, this is boring. Let's go back to the rink. Let's go back to the punching and the fighting and the throwing the steel ball at people's faces." But I'm sure if I watched, maybe if I watched it again as an adult, I think it's probably a good few years since I've seen it. It's one of those films as well that you kind of like you turn the telly on, it's like halfway through. Oh, I've got to watch the end of this, but like I don't know the last time I actually watched it from the beginning. If I ever, I must have watched the whole thing at one point. But you get films like that though, where you kind of like you've watched like the last 45 minutes like hundreds of times, but you've never actually you sort of was always on, and you as you're turning the channels over late at night, and you just catch the end of it. There seems to be quite a few films like that. Where if I see it's on, I'll carry on watching it to the end. But I haven't seen the beginning of it probably for God knows 30 years. Who knows?
The books you've ordered are classified and have been transcribed and summarized.
Who summarized it? Zero, of course. He's the world's brain. Does it answer you? It speaks. I'd like some information about corporate decisions, how they're made and who makes them. They're afraid of you, Jonathan.
Yes, it sounds like the corporation are in charge. Yeah, they're kind of getting that way now, aren't they? If they're not already, so the corporation's in charge, and they want the people to be kept in their place. I'm pretty sure that's the overall kind of social message of it. Because though, like as a kid, it's just like, yeah, people are getting punched and people are fighting each other, and there's cool motorbikes and stuff. That wasn't, there was a proper social kind of message there. Like, but I was obviously a kid, too dumb to know what it was. You're just like, get back to the punching.
All the way to the top they are. The game was created to demonstrate the futility of individuals. Let the game do its work. Game? It wasn't meant to be a game!
Ouch. Jonathan. Yeah. Nice rousing, nice rousing church organ music there. Kind of like it's immense, and that iconic the spiked glove holding the steel ball. It's like that's an iconic image from like old posters. Oh, look, there's a trailer here for the new Rollerball. That was 2002. That was 20 years ago. What did I say? 21 years ago. The Rollerball remake. I might have to watch that again at some point. Maybe I'll do a double bill, watch them both. But yeah, that was another cool retro trailer that I wanted to check out there. Have you seen Rollerball? What did you think of it? I think I was right with what I was saying about the social messages being in there as well. Obviously, you can enjoy it on different levels. You can enjoy it on one level, if you like, on the violence, and another level with, like, I don't know, some kind of social message, blah, blah, blah. You enjoy it how you wish. Anyway, leave your reactions to my reaction in the comments down below. Give us a sub if you enjoyed it and you want to check out some more from me. And yeah, I'll be back another time to do some more reaction. Cheers!